Karma Mini.
Karmendriyani sanyamya yaste manasa smaran indriyarthan vimodhatma mithyacharasta uchyate. One who restrains the senses and organs of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. So Arjuna, you may take sannyas, but then your mind will always be dwelling upon sense enjoyment. So such a person is not called a sannyasi, renouncer of duties, but a pretender, although he can be in dress of a sannyasi. Yastvindriyani manasa niyamya rabhate Arjuna karmendriya karma yogam asakta sa vishishyate. On the other hand, he who controls the senses by the mind and engages his active organs in work of devotion without attachment is by far superior. So one has to work, but work without attachment. That is why even a householder's life is called ashrama, grahast ashram. Ashram means where spirituality is in center, Krishna consciousness is in center. So without attachment, even a person is householder. Here Krishna is telling he is much superior, much better than a pretender sannyasi. So it is told sannyas ashram is so strict. If a lusty thought is entertained by a sannyasi, the injunction is he should leave his body. The body becomes so contaminated. So sannyas ashram is so strict, you do not have right to live with a contaminated consciousness. Thus, these things are prohibited in Kaliyuga. Kalau pancha vivarjayet. So it is not that some people, Shastras were meant for old ages. Now it is 21st century. We have to change the rules. No. The Shastras recommend different rules for different millenniums and centuries. That is why the Dhyana Yoga, which was recommended for Sat Yoga, it is not recommended now. The sacrifices, the special kind of sacrifice, Dravya Yajna, which was meant for Treta Yoga, is not recommended now. The deity worship for self-realization, which was for Dwapar Yoga, Pancharatra istu kevala. In Kali Yuga, Kalautu Nama Matrena, chanting the holy names of the God, is a recommended yajna or the process. So thus, the Shastras give the wisdom for different ages, and thus they are always applicable. We need to understand what is a recommendation for this age. So thus in this age it is told one should not take sannyas. Every respectable person was expected to take sannyas. Go to jungle at 50 years. Pancha shordhvam vanam vrajet. Vrajet means one must go vidhiling. But now there is no brahmacharya training. Without brahmacharya training, sannyas, if a person takes, then a person may become a pretender. So now also if a person is very much advanced and qualified, they can take, but it is not allowed for general people. Just like now if somebody doesn't take education, it is not acceptable. Similarly, some respectable person not taking sannyas was not acceptable at all in previous ages. But in Kali Yuga, for general people it is told you remain in engage in your duties wherever you are, but work without attachment in the spirit of devotion.